the hidden reason you feel lost, and how to finally wake up. Have you ever felt like your life is quietly slipping through your fingers, as if you're awake, but somehow still asleep? You wake up every morning, scroll through the noise, chase your goals, meet the expectations, smile at the world, and yet deep inside, there is a kiet ache, a voice that whispers, "This isn't who I really am." Most people think feeling lost means something is wrong with them, but Carl Jung once said, "There is no coming to consciousness without pain." What you're feeling, this confusion, this disconnection, is not a mistake. It's a signal, a silent invitation from your deeper self, calling you to awaken from the life you were told to live, and remember who you really are. We live in an age of noise. Every second something demands our attention, a new post, a new trend, a new definition of success. It's easy to mistake motion for meaning. You can be busy every day and still feel completely directionless. Alan Watts described this as the great human delusion that life is a journey from point A to point B, when, in truth, life is like a song. It's meant to be danced, not rushed through, but we've forgotten how to dance. We've become spectators of our own existence, measuring our worth by comparison, our joy by validation, and our peace by productivity. The more we chase meaning out there, the more we lose touch with the silence within. And yet, that silence, the space we avoid, is where the truth waits for us. There comes a moment in every human life when the illusion cracks. It might happen in the middle of the night, when the world is asleep and your mind won't stop talking. Or maybe it happens in the middle of success, when you finally reach the dream you thought would complete you, and realize you still feel hollow inside. Friedrich Nietzsche called this the death of God. Not the death of a deity, but the death of the false idols we've built to give our lives. Meaning, status, wealth, approval, control. We cling to them, believing they'll save us from the chaos of existence. But when they collapse, we face the terrifying question: if none of this defines me, then who am I? That's the moment most people run from. They drown it out with distraction, chase a new goal, or numb the silence with noise. But the few who dare to face that emptiness, who stop, breathe, and listen, discover something extraordinary. That feeling lost is not the end. It's the beginning of waking up. Carl Jung believed that within each of us lives two selves: the persona, the mask we show the world, and the self, the deeper, infinite consciousness that longs to express who we truly are. We begin life connected to that essence. But as we grow up, we learn to trade authenticity for acceptance. We are taught how to fit in, not how to become ourselves. We silence the parts that don't fit the mold: our curiosity, our sensitivity, our weirdness, our wildness. And then one day, we look in the mirror and no longer recognize the person staring back. The reason you feel lost is because you've spent years walking away from yourself. And yet, the paradox is this: you never truly lose your way. You only lose connection. The compass is still inside you, buried under layers of noise, fear, and expectation. Viktor Frankl, the psychiatrist who survived the concentration camps, wrote that when we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. In the darkest moments of life, when everything external is stripped away, what remains is the raw question of meaning, the choice to create purpose even when none seems to exist. Meaning isn't something you find out there, it's something you awaken within. Modern society runs on a single, quiet belief that happiness is somewhere ahead of you. If you just fix yourself, achieve more, become more, then, finally, you'll feel complete. Napoleon Hill, author of Think and Grow Rich, called this the hypnotic rhythm of habit. He warned that most people are trapped in an unconscious cycle, living not by deliberate design, but by mental programming handed down by the world around them. They think they're choosing, but their choices are simply repetitions of old fears and inherited beliefs. Hill believed the mind is a garden, and whatever you plant there, consciously or unconsciously, eventually becomes your reality. So ask yourself, What have you been planting lately? What thoughts? What stories? What identities have you been watering in silence? Because until you examine them, they keep you lost, chasing a future that never comes, and missing the miracle of being alive right now. Waking up is not comfortable. Carl Jung warned that people will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own soul. And he was right. To wake up is to see the truth that your pain was not random, your confusion was not failure, and your suffering was not punishment. It was preparation. You had to lose what wasn't real to remember what is. The job, the relationship, the dream that fell apart, they were never meant to destroy you. They were meant to show you where you were asleep. Every awakening begins with disillusionment. When the lies fall away, there's a moment of darkness, a void. But the void isn't empty. It's full of potential. It's the space where the old self dissolves and the true self begins to breathe. Think about this for a moment. What if feeling lost is the universe's way of guiding you home? What if the ache you feel is an absence, but calling a call to finally live in alignment with what's real within you? Friedrich Nietzsche once wrote, "One must still have chaos in oneself to give birth to a dancing star." Chaos is not the enemy. It's the raw material of transformation. We spend our lives trying to control, to organize, to make sense of it all. But maybe the meaning of life isn't to eliminate chaos, it's to dance with it. Alan Watts compared this to waking from a dream. When you realize that life is not a problem to be solved, but a process to be experienced, something shifts. You stop trying to force clarity, and instead begin to listen. You start to trust the uncertainty. You begin to see that confusion is not the opposite of progress, it is progress. Because the moment you realize you're lost, you've already started to wake up. There's a reason you feel like something's missing. You've spent too much time listening to the voices outside you and not enough time listening to the one within. Carl Jung said the most terrifying thing is to accept yourself completely. Because when you do, you can no longer blame the world for your unhappiness. You must take responsibility for who you are becoming. But that's also your freedom. When you finally stop chasing who you should be, you make space for who you truly are. And the real awakening is this: you were never truly lost. You were only asleep to your own power. The world conditioned you to look outward for approval, meaning salvation. But the moment you turn inward, you realize everything you were searching for has been waiting patiently inside you all along. Viktor Frankl once wrote that the ultimate freedom is to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. No matter how dark the road becomes, you always have the power to choose meaning over despair. And that choice, that small, quiet decision to stay conscious, is the moment you begin to return to yourself. Napoleon Hill would have called it definiteness of purpose. Carl Jung would have called it individuation. Alan Watts might have said it as remembering that you are never separate from the whole to begin with. Different words, same truth. The journey is not about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you've always been. Every feeling of loss is really a turning point, a sacred pause, a whisper from the universe saying, "You are ready to wake up now." If you're listening to this and you feel lost, know this: you are not broken. You are being refined. The fog you're walking through is not the end of the path. It is the path. And one day, you'll look back and realize that the moments that made you question everything were the very moments that gave you everything. Carl Jung taught that the goal of life is not happiness, but wholeness. And wholeness includes the dark, the confusion, the lostness. To be fully alive means to embrace the entire spectrum of your humanity. Not just the light, but also the shadows that shaped it. So stop running from your lostness. Sit with it. Listen to it, because buried inside that silence is the map you've been searching for. The hidden reason you feel lost is because the person you were pretending to be is dying, and the person you were born to become is awakening. You are not lost. You are in transition. You are shedding everything false so that what is real can emerge. And as you walk this road, uncertain, messy, beautifully human, remember this: no one ever truly finds themselves. They create themselves, moment by moment, choice by choice. Awareness by awareness. Viktor Frankl said that life is never made unbearable by circumstances, but only by lack of meaning and purpose. So, make meaning. Even here. Even now. Because the real awakening is not out there. It's within you, waiting for the moment you finally stop searching and start seeing. You feel lost because you're meant to evolve. Every great transformation begins with disorientation. The seed must lose its form before it becomes a tree. The caterpillar must dissolve before it can fly. And you right now are dissolving into something new. So don't fear the darkness. It's not the end. It's the space where your light is born. If this message spoke to you, subscribe to Becoming You and keep growing with us. And if you watched until the end, comment the word awareness below and share your thoughts about what awakening means to you.